Just want to touch on the roadmap. So if you want to learn the skills, how to use, where do you go? So you could start with basic Excel, Power BI, Tableau, Aperture Spark. These are just some traditional data analysis things you can start with. So these are mainly for data analysis to visualize what you have. And when you want to start going into more deep data science things, you start looking at programming languages like R, using R Studio, or you want to use Python using some integrated development environment like Google Colab, like Visual Studio Code, Jupyter Notebook, or PyCharm, depending on do the same thing, just depends on what you prefer. Then you can now start focusing on more technical things like learning Python. I recommend that people learn Python as programming because it's easy to learn. It has easy syntax. It's like your normal human language. I think it's one of the easiest programming language to learn, to be honest. Then you start with the Python basics, and you can start talking about statistics, probability, median, measures of central tendency, measures of variability. Just understand, you don't have to know the y, the x, no complex mathematics. Start with a simple, at least if you know, okay, what is a mean? How do I calculate a mean? And in most cases, you don't need to know how to calculate a mean because there are different functions in Python that can generate that. But you should understand, what does a mean tell you? If you have median, how does a mean differ from a median? If I want to calculate standard deviation, in what cases do I use standard deviation, or in what cases do I use standard deviation or use variance? So things like that, measures of central, you just need to understand, have an understanding of those at least fundamental terms. You don't have to get complex concepts because it can really get confusing. Start with the basics, then you can now move on to some more advanced Python things like learning Python functions. So for basic Python, for example, you want to learn Python data types, Python variables, different data structures. Then you want to start going into advanced Python. You want to start learning things like flow, control flows, like functions, for loop, if statement, how to create a function. Then you can look at different libraries like pandas, numpy, matplotlib. So just some more advanced concepts. Then from there you can now start picking up SQL basics. Okay, how do I query a database? How do I select all from XYZ table to get the data you want? So like I said, you don't need to go learn SQL that a data engineer will use. So you want to learn how to query database. Then also start doing data visualization. Yes, I discovered XYZ. How do I visualize this data? How do I communicate? They'll tell you a picture says more than 1,000 words. So you have to be able to create good pictures, good visuals. They talk about data transformation. How do you manipulate your data? How do you remove erroneous data? How do you spot erroneous data? How do you take it out? How do you treat it? How do you maybe change data from one format to another? That's some of the data transformation you start looking at. How do you scale your data, or how do you normalize your data? Then from there you can now start applying machine learning models. You want to know, is it classification? Is it a regression problem? Do I have to apply unsupervised learning? Things like that. Then you can now start learning doing some deployment, that is deploying your machine learning when you think is good enough.